Welcome to the show. Today it is Game On News Central TV. I am Udoka Njoku, and yes, I am riding solo today because my team, we've actually gone out to cover a couple of events out there, but we'll be here to give you all the best of sporting details and everything happening, and also looking forward to more interesting and juicy stories breaking in the world of sport. And remember, you can reach us on social media, and also you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at News Central TV. Well, joining me via Zoom today is our regular, talking about our commentator and, of course, analyst. We've got Chinasea right there, Ibonye from Los Angeles. And we also got Jidechi joining us, and we'll be looking at all the stories happening across the world of sports together. And once they join, of course, we'll be here to show you, and they will get to share their opinion as well. Well, we'll get to start off this story with our handball story, and it has to go with the Handball Federation of Nigeria, where the president of the Handball Federation, Samuel Ocheho, has urged support for the under-23 men's team ahead of the 5th IHF Emerging Nations Championship in Bulgaria. Nigeria was drawn into Group B alongside the United States, Azerbaijan, and Moldova after Wednesday's draw at the International Handball Federation headquarters in Basel, Switzerland. The tournament runs from the 11th to the 16th of March 2025. Ocheho acknowledged the challenge of facing the U.S. again, having lost to them in the 2019 edition. However, he sees this as a chance for Nigeria to improve on past performances. He also emphasized that with strong backing, the team can excel, and the Federation remains committed to ensuring their success at the tournament. Away from handball, let's talk some tennis, as the U.S. Open will expand its main draw to 15 days in 2025, marking the first time in the Open era that the tournament begins on a weekend. Now, starting on Sunday, the 24th of August, instead of the traditional Monday, the expanded format will provide access to an additional 70,000 fans. The USTA cited record-breaking attendance and soaring demand over the past 3 years as key reasons for that change. Now, the opening 3 days will feature first-round matches for both men's and women's singles, with the tournament concluding on Sunday, the 7th of September at Flushing Meadows in New York. So we look forward to that one and what the draws will look like and what the expectations are for the fans right there. Of course, we've got Chinasea Ibonye joining us all the way from Los Angeles, USA. Thank you for joining today, and of course, regular Thursday customer.
All right, look, always my pleasure to join you guys.
Thank you very much. How's it going over there?
A bit chilly, but we're surviving.
All right. You know, we just talked about the story about the U.S. Open, where there has been an increase to expand the main draw to 15 days in 2025. Regular Monday that it's supposed to, rather, it starts on Monday as usual, but now we're hearing that the tournament is set to be starting on Sunday instead of the regular Monday because of record-breaking attendance that we had in the past seasons.
Yeah, it's the interest in tennis is growing, you know, at a very fantastic rate. It was dwindling for a while, you know, when there weren't a lot of Americans on tour, you know, performing well. But right now you have Coco Gauff, you have Madison Keys, you have the young kid. I know, like, is it Ben Shelton that was at the Australian Open semifinals? So yeah, there's a lot of interest now from the American tennis crowd. So it only makes more sense that the U.S. Open will want to capitalize that. Remember, this is America. This is the home of capitalism. So, and sports has always been big business in America. So, any way they see they're going to make more money, they're going to capitalize on fan interest. They are definitely going to, you know, exploit that. So, it's not a surprise to me.
All right, we've also got Jidechi Chideze joining us, and of course, always a pleasure to have Jidechi on the show. Thank you for joining, Jidechi.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Udoka. Always a pleasure to join you on the program.
Right. Let's talk about doping, as the Athletics Integrity Unit on Thursday announced that French 400-meter hurdler Wilfried Happio has been provisionally suspended for anti-doping whereabouts failures. The 26-year-old won silver in the 400-meter hurdles at the 2022 European Championships in Munich and reached the semifinals of the Paris Olympics. Now, the AIU did not disclose the exact details of his breaches, which could involve incorrect location filings or missed out of competition drug tests. Under anti-doping rules, 3 whereabouts failures within 12 months can lead to a provisional suspension, with athletes facing a potential ban of up to 2 years. Happio now awaits further proceedings to determine the final outcome of his case. Let's talk some basketball, as this story isn't such a great one for me, as the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, has suggested that the league could consider switching from 12 minutes to 10 minutes quarters in the future to align with international rules and adapt to evolving television audiences. While emphasizing that the change is not actively being considered, Silver acknowledged the potential benefits of a shorter format, including reduced player fatigue and a more TV-friendly 2-hour game duration. However, he admitted that such a shift would require extensive discussion, given its impact on records and league traditions. Now, the NBA has historically played 48 minutes games, whereas international and Olympic competitions use a 40-minute format. Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau opposed the idea, citing concerns over record keeping and the integrity of the competition, emphasizing that fan interest is driven by high-level play. Jidechi, we've talked about football in the past and present, and we've seen a couple of football players, rather ex-football players, who came out to say that, look, they don't enjoy the kind of football that they get to watch now. They rather stick to what we used to have back in the day. And do we need to get accustomed to this change if this happens with basketball?
So I'm actually surprised when I saw this news earlier. I was actually surprised that basketball, that is way shorter than football, are actually considering reducing their time. I don't know how it would impact the game differently. If anything, I think the game of basketball is pretty much engaging from the very first minute till the 12th minute of the fourth quarter. I really don't know what's brought about this, whether it's the fact that, well, according to the NBA commissioner, he thinks that fans are evolving, people want the game to finish faster. I think I would think differently to that, because unlike so many other sports, you think tennis can span hours, sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours. You have football spanning about 2 hours, an hour, 30 minutes. And you can go on and on. Even the likes of Formula One, the races do not end in 12 minutes. So I don't know. I genuinely don't think reducing the time is going to make any difference for basketball fans, because, I mean, 12 minutes, basketball is one of those sports that are pretty much engaging, that's very much pretty much engaging from the first minute until the final minute. So yes, I genuinely do not see any much changes coming to this. But yeah, it's life is all about changes. Sometimes you want to tweak things up. So let's see how it goes eventually if they decide to go this path.
Chinasea, I actually thought we were going to be looking at adding more time to basketball to adjust with the world, talking about the world framing when it comes to basketball. Let's increase the time to at least 15 minutes. But we're now talking about reduction of the basketball time per quarter from 12 minutes to 10 minutes. Are we going to enjoy 10 minutes basketball, or will it just be a waste?
Well, look, first of all, like I said earlier, in the US, the sport is a product, is an entertainment product, first and foremost, because it's all about making money. You know, that's the main thing they want. So, and I think this is coming about because in recent times, talking about the past couple of seasons, the viewership of the NBA has been declining. You know, the NFL has been steadily rising up. MLB, that's baseball, has been steadily rising up. But for some reason, basketball has been declining. You know, the viewership of the NBA has been declining. And a lot of people have also come out to say that the game is getting boring in terms of how it's not the way it used to be played before, when, you know, you have big men, you have people going to the paint, doing work and all that. Now it's mostly, even me, I've complained about it. Especially in the NBA, it's becoming kind of boring because you know what to, basically everything plays the same way. You know what to expect. Run sets, take a tree, run sets, take a tree. Like, nobody goes into the paint. They don't do anything anymore. So yeah, at some point it becomes boring. So I understand why this might be an idea that is being floated by the commissioner, because they're looking for ways to engage viewers. Like I said, it's a product. So the first thing you want to do, you have a declining product per se in terms of viewership. So you're looking for ways to make this more to drive the appeal, especially to the younger crowd, and you know that in this generation, a lot of people don't have the time, the focus, attention span to be watching something that is boring them for long periods of time. So yeah, and also the fact that the international body for FIBA it's 10 minutes, and it still gets exciting. We all watched the Olympics. It was exciting. It was 10 minutes games. You had 10-minute quarters. You didn't even know that it was 10-minute quarters because it was exciting. So if it's going to overall contribute overall to the appeal of the game and make it more exciting, I'm all for it. But at the end of the day, I think this is coming because of the declining viewership and how the murmurs from a lot of fans, players, and former players, and a lot of other people that are interested in basketball, telling you that the game is becoming boring. So why will I spend 48 minutes watching something that could be condensed? Even baseball sort of did the same thing. Baseball, they introduced pitch clocks, they did some things to shorten the game, and it has worked for them because the game is growing. It was declining for a while, but now it's growing in America again. So and even worldwide. So maybe this is just him, or maybe it's also another way to send an indirect message to those players and people involved in basketball in the NBA right now that you guys have to do something about how you're playing, what you're doing, because the interest is waning, and we might have to just do things differently to find a way to spark up and generate more interest.
Right. Still talking about the NBA now, who would you really blame? Is it the association or the way the players and the coaches and the way the game has turned out to be these days? I mean, the rules have changed. A lot of gameplays have also changed. Back in the day when we used to watch the NBA, looking at the likes of the Detroit Pistons, the Wallace brothers, there was also Abdul-Jabbar's there. It was really exciting watching Kobe Bryant and Kobe Bryant. And there was also Shaquille O'Neal, Michael Jordan. All of these guys played basketball and they made it fun. We wanted to see more basketball being played. But don't you think with a couple of rule changes, the way the game is being played now, that's what led to the game being boring?
It's a lot of factors, It's a lot of factors. Like you talk about the 90s, the 80s, right now, everybody they're basically friends, Back then in the 80s, you see these players, you know that they didn't really like each other.
Exactly.
They go at each other, but so yeah, over time, I don't know how competitive you would be if you really don't have a certain degree of feeling towards your opponent, because at the end of the day, you see them smiling and laughing and playing with each other, and before you know it, it gets into the game. Even let's look at the All-Star game, for example. The All-Star weekend is almost becoming not a factor because it has been watered down. Back in the day of MJ, Kobe, and the likes of them, the All-Star weekend was a big deal. You see these guys putting their all in the All-Star game, but right now it's like a gathering of friends. Let's just go and have fun. I think last All-Star game had almost 400 points scored in the game. So yeah, it's a lot of factors. You can blame the players, you can blame you can blame the coaches, whoever you want to blame, but it's not something that just started happening today. It's been happening, and of course we also saw with evolution, with generations changing and everything. Steph Curry basically changed the face of the NBA with his 3-point shooting, and everybody, of course, it's a copycat league sometimes, so everybody now is doing the same thing, and that in the long run is beginning to make the game boring, because you see, like the Boston Celtics, who are the current NBA champions, they average 45 to 50 threes a game. That was unheard of before, but hey, that's what the game has become, So it's a whole lot of factors, and like I said, Adam Silver is just trying his best to see, what he can do to make the products have more appeal to a lot of fans, and so he floating this idea is not surprising to me.
All right, let's talk Formula One now, and it has to do with the new man who is a rider for the Ferrari, as we all look forward to see what Lewis Hamilton would do with the Ferrari. But of course, the Formula One enthusiasts all over the world cannot wait for the Ferrari, and that's the relationship between Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari to start the new season in March, because that is when Lewis Hamilton will race for the first time in the red colors. Now, the 7-time world champion has described his move from Mercedes after 12 successful years as emotional, but of course he confirmed that he is excited about his new chapter, and we look forward to Hamilton, who can actually win a record 8 world championship with one of the oldest and most storied outfits in the history of motorsports. Right, we hear that package is not ready yet. But Jidechi, Lewis Hamilton felt like he drove for Mercedes for all his life. We all thought he wasn't going to leave the Mercedes, but yes, he broke last year that he'll be leaving, and now he's with the Ferrari. What do you expect from Lewis Hamilton this season?
I think the Hamilton story just feels like a Lionel Messi to PSG when he moved away from Barcelona. And we all saw what happened when you are the top of your game, when you are the top of the sports. It's only expected that the fact you are changing where you call home does not really impact your game so differently because you are one of the top performers in the sport. So yes, do I expect Hamilton to still stay top, even though he's with Ferrari that wouldn't usually come out as number one in terms of the producer and the manufacturers? I genuinely think so. Hamilton is definitely going to bring something to Ferrari, something that he was giving to Mercedes, because at the end of the day, as much as you want to look at it any way you want to look at it, sometimes it's also about the driver. It's not always about the car. So definitely I do see Hamilton bringing Ferrari to the top of their game this time around. And Ferrari this time would be able to compete with the likes of Mercedes that really dominated the sport. So yes, I do think that it's still going to be, even though it's not always going to be Hamilton winning everything, but I still think that we would be getting lots of Hamilton victories this coming season.
All right, looking forward to the new season, which kicks off in March. And for the Ferrari and the Lewis Hamilton fans, we're hoping that he can get to claim some championships and also maybe topple Max Verstappen for the.
If you're a true F1 fan, you would love this because it's like unarguably one of the top three drivers ever in Lewis Hamilton into basically the most storied franchise in the sport. You know, Ferrari and Lewis Hamilton is something that we're all looking forward to as fans of Formula One. Ferrari has really been on a downward spiral after the great Michael Schumacher, you know, winning all those titles for them. So hopefully Ferrari can have a good car this year, you know, because it's a combination of both factors. Yes, having a good driver is important, but also if your car is not as good as your competitor, like and we know right now Red Bull is number one when it comes to the cars and for the manufacturing. And so if Ferrari can put out a good car this year, they have a driver that can make a difference. So I'm really personally looking forward to this, seeing what Lewis Hamilton would do with the Scuderia, the Ferrari team.
All right, let's get to listen to this package, and when we come back, we'll continue with the rest of the show.
An era is coming to an end in Formula One. Lewis Hamilton, the seven-time world champion and one of the most iconic drivers of all time, is bidding farewell to Mercedes after more than a decade of partnership that defined modern racing. And now, the world is holding its breath as Hamilton prepares to don the famous red of Ferrari in the 2025 season. Since joining Mercedes in 2013, Hamilton has shattered records, clinched 82 of his 103 career race wins, and delivered the Team 8 Constructors' Championships. But after a challenging couple of seasons where Mercedes struggled to match the pace of Red Bull, the 2024 season marked his final chapter with the Silver Arrows. For years, fans speculated about the possibility of Hamilton driving for Ferrari, a team synonymous for passion and heritage in Formula One. Now, it's becoming a reality as Hamilton steps into the cockpit alongside Charles Leclerc for the 2025 season.
A supporter of Charles, and Charles has always spoke highly of Lewis. And you know, the thing in Formula One, it's the most individual team sport that there is, and for Charles, he'll want to show that he can go up against a seven-time world champion and come out on top. And Lewis will also, he'll want to beat his teammate. You know, in Formula One, the first reference that you have is your teammate. You know, if you can beat your teammate, that's a good job. That's a good day's work. So, you know, I think it will be fine. I don't think there'll be much to manage. You know, they'll obviously want to beat each other, but I think the main thing is they'll obviously want to lift Ferrari back to the top. So, you know, it's an interesting dynamic. I think for Lewis at 40 years old, going up against one of the fastest young drivers in the world, it shows how, one, confident he is, but how much passion he still has for the sport, you know, and it'll be a very interesting dynamic, and it's definitely one of the top driver duos that we have on the grid this year.
Critics argue that Hamilton's move is a gamble. Ferrari has struggled with consistency and reliability in recent years, but their 2024 performance shows promise.
I don't know if I define it as a risk. I think, like with anything in life, any change that you make is always risky, but there is a level of a childhood dream coming for him, so there's some sentimentality that comes with it. But, I think, look at what Ferrari have done the last couple of years under Fred Vasseur, how they managed to rebuild themselves. And now, for the last race of last season, they were fighting for the Constructors' World Championship. They'll feel very confident going into 2025 that they can, push for both titles. And so in that case, the change in scenery, the change in culture that Lewis would have to go through, of course, there's an element of a risk to it, but there's also huge upside that could come with it. So, it's a gamble, but it's a gamble that's definitely worth doing. And of course, it's sentimental. He talked about the fact that he's wanted to drive in red, since he was a kid. He wanted to fulfill that dream. And for a lot of the drivers, it is a dream to drive for Ferrari. So it's one that has risk to it, but it also has incredible upside. And no matter what happens, I think it's going to be something incredible to watch Lewis driving for Ferrari. I know what this sport is going to bring, but I think that's what's so exciting about this 2025 season. You have McLaren looking to defend their team championship. You have the drivers looking for their first drivers' championships. And you have Ferrari with Lewis, and Charles. It's going to be incredible. Max and Red Bull will be looking to bounce back in terms of, to get back to the front again to have the fastest car. Max who won that 5th title. You also have Mercedes as well. And a few years ago, we had Aston Martin as the second fastest team. They'll want to bounce back and to show that they can fight at the front. And you never know what can happen in Formula One. It's sort of set up to be the best season, that we've seen in recent memory. But, as far as what Lewis can do, can he win his 8th title? He'll believe he can. Ferrari will believe he can as well.
Could this partnership finally deliver championship Ferrari fans have craved for over a decade? Whether he conquers new heights with Ferrari or faces the toughest challenges of his career, one thing is certain. Hamilton's story in Formula One is far from over, and the new chapter promises to be a thrilling one as ever.
The new chapter is upon us, talking about Lewis Hamilton and the Ferrari. And of course, as the fans are looking forward to it, I'm also looking forward to the new season, which kicks off in March. And we'll see how many championship titles Lewis Hamilton will get to win with the Ferrari. Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll be talking football all the way. Thanks for staying with us. It is still Game On News Central TV. I am Udoka Njoku. I've still got Jidechi Chidieze and Chinase Aibonye all the way from the Los Angeles right here joining us. And we're talking football, starting off with the Nigeria Premier Football League. And for Heartland Football Club of Owerri, they secured a hard-fought draw against Enyimba at the Enyimba International Stadium in Aba. Now, Daniel Victor Ekpo gave Heartland the lead in the 18th minute, converting a penalty to put his side ahead. However, it was Enyimba who responded in the second half, with Joseph Atwile netting the equalizer in the 55th minute. The result leaves Enyimba in the 9th position on the league table, while Heartland sits 13th. Both teams will be looking to improve their standings as the season progresses. Talking about that result now, Jidechi, back in the day, about 2 seasons ago, even last season, what we hear about Heartland is that they are wallowing in the relegation zone. But it looks like the story is different this season.
Yeah, absolutely. In Enyimba, Heartland fiasco is a tale of two sides. Some years ago, Heartland, I mean, not just some years ago, the last couple of seasons, Heartland would not be the side we would be saying are in 13th place. This was a team that did struggle with relegation. Heartland last season, I mean, a story we don't want to talk about how they are still in the league this season. The season before that also struggled with relegation. Some seasons ago, 2018 or thereabouts, they were relegated. And then there's Enyimba, who we would also not be talking about this time in the season being in 9th place. Enyimba, I really do not know what is going on with Enyimba this particular season. It's been a disaster for the club that should be the best performing club in Nigeria this year. It's just been something out of the ordinary, dropping points at home, dropping points whether against heavyweights or against minnows. They've just not been able to find their rhythm. For Heartland, yes, somehow the club has been able to find its rhythm. Coach Emmanuel Amuneke coming in to take charge of the team, and somehow he's doing not in the level that we would say Heartland should be, but better than what they've been in recent seasons. This is a five-time champion of the Nigerian League. Yes, one would expect they should be doing better than this, but when you consider the fact that this club has really struggled in recent seasons, this is quite an impressive season that they're having under Amuneke. So yes, kudos to Heartland. For Enyimba, really do not know what it is. I can only hope that he gets it right.
Right, and since the arrival of Brown Ideye, yes, he has scored a couple of goals for Enyimba, but it looks like things are not just working so well for the club. But let's take a look at the table and see where Enyimba and the Heartland actually stand, and of course, taking a look at the top 6 and the bottom 6 of the Nigeria Premier Football League table. Yes, that is, Remo Stars look like they are piping hot and that they really want to win the league this season. They have 42 points. Shooting Stars in second position with 36 points. There's also Rivers United with 35 points. El Kanemi Warriors with 32 points. Ikorodu City have 31 points. They're fifth on the table. Enugu Rangers are sixth on the table with 31 points. Looking at the bottom of the Nigeria Premier Football League table, the bottom 6, Sunshine Stars right there with 24 points on 15th position. Plateau United, 23 points. There's Bendel Insurance on 22 points. Lobby Stars on 21 points. Aqua United on 20 points. And Nasarawa United on 19 points. And it is quite funny to say that the highest goal scorer in the Nigeria Premier Football League actually plays for Nasarawa United, who are currently in the bottom of the Nigeria Premier Football League table. Chinasia, looking at what's going on in the NPFL, games are also played today. And for Kano Pillars, they are still hoping that they can win the title. And yes, of course, because the gap between the top and the 6th place is not so much for a team to catch up. And looking at the games that were played today, Enyimba 1-1 against Heartland of Owerri. There was a goalless draw between Katsina United and Plateau United. Niger Tornadoes defeated Kwara United 2-1, and it was 2-2 between Beden Insurance and Rivers United. It is not all set and done for Remo Stars. Chinas here.
Yeah, of course, and it's the Nigerian league. It's not like any other league in the world. You're talking about
it's a special league.
Yeah, you're talking about separating the top 2, the top 6 rather. But even if we take it down to like the top 15, it's not up to 20 points difference.
I agree.
Separating this team. So yeah, it's very competitive. I'm actually very impressed with Remo Stars. The fact that they only lost 5 games all season, and also Rivers United and El Kanemi Warriors also not just losing 4 games. But they have a healthy lead. Yes, you can say that they have a healthy 6-point lead. But it's anything can still happen. Kano Pillars are right now not in the top 6, but they can find their way when they just go on a couple of runs. The most important thing, like we know in the Nigerian Football League, is how well you do away from home. So if Kano Pillars hits a rich rate of form away from home, and we know how much of a fortress their stadium is in Kano, who knows? Things might change. But Remo Stars, they've been looking like they really want it this time around, and they've been doing everything they need to do, or winning the games they should win, and also putting up good fights when they're away from home. So yeah, it might just be their year.
It just might be their year. Talking about Remo Stars, hoping that they can get to win the Nigeria Premier Football League. We're still talking about the NPFL. In a post-match interview, Brown Ideye, the forward for Enyimba Football Club, expressed frustration about the state of the league, questioning the league's readiness for international competitions, and also concerns about structural issues plaguing the league. Now, Ahmed Musa, who is the forward for Kano Pillars and captain of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, he has also weighed in on the ongoing challenges facing Nigerian football, emphasizing the need for a shift in how clubs are managed.
About the pitch, so that is what we need the federation to work on. But when you talk about the traveling, so you have to talk to your management. So your management have all those to handle the feeding of the players, the traveling, everything. So I don't think that is the responsibility for the league. So it's for their own management. As you can see, most of the teams are owned from the government, so it's difficult always going back to the government asking for money without getting anything from them. So for me, advice that I have for everyone, let us just have a lot of private company to own some of the teams. So that is going to help a lot.
Of course, that was Ahmed Musa talking about the state of the league and also talking about the facility, the training pitch, and also the proper football pitch where they get to play. He wants an improvement on all of this. Chinase, looking at how the league has been formed so far, yes, we've seen Ahmed Musa come back to play. There's also Brownie Ideye coming back to play for Enyimba Football Club. Do you think more ex-players will come back to Nigeria to play if the league is not bettered today?
But I think in the long run, we actually need more of them to come back because you just look at what players like Ahmed Musa and Beryl Ackroyd are saying because of what they've experienced, because of what they're used to, because of what they know is obtainable in leagues across the world. So, and yes, I'd like to see more of them. You know, even if it's just to play like a season or two in the twilight years, to come in and you know, maybe bring more awareness to what needs to be done, the standards that need to be set. So it might just help us out in the long run, and also even away from their playing careers, you know, maybe some of them might become interested in, you know, owning teams and you know, really properly running a league the way it should be run, you know, and not just everything like Ahmed Musa said, the government, basically almost all the clubs are owned by the government. Look at the things we love across Europe, you know. I mean, which team would you say is owned by the government? They're all basically, even the league itself is a private entity, it's a private business away from the government, you know. So it's a gradual process, you know. We've been singing this song for decades now, but hopefully with the return of some of experienced players who have tasted and seen what it's like out there and bringing attention and calling for standardization of the league, maybe it might just benefit us in the long run if they come back and keep, you know, talking about how to improve the league.
Right, Jilechi, we keep talking about these players coming back to play in Nigeria, but we're not even focusing on the security of these players. How many of them really would want to travel to play away games because of the insecurities in the country? And why can't we even have a partnership with some of these air companies, the airlines, to also help sponsor these clubs that are traveling from point A to point B?
Look, I think one of the first things is the fact, I think I've said this on this show some time back, but let me just repeat it. Many of our football administrators in Nigeria, they think and act like people in the civil service. No changes, no attempts to make a difference. Just sit in there, you know, in your office, and you just run the system the way you met it. I think that is one of the first and major problems that we are having in football in Nigeria, local football in Nigeria. We have people who are running football clubs that do not think out of the box how they can make a business, a proper business out of the clubs that they run. They are handed over a club to run, and the only thing they think about is getting the government subvention and using it to pay the players as at when you take their own shares and then move on. They don't think about how they can generate income for these clubs. And I mean, one of the ways you can generate income is getting into partnerships with airlines across the country. We have a couple of airlines, good ones for that matter. There's a way you can get into. We've had clubs at some point back when I used to work with Heartland, one of the former GMs of the club actually got into business with Dana Air. We saw Aqua United some seasons ago. We're also in business with Dana Air. These are some of the ways you can get to ensure the security of your players. They are not always on the road. I mean, it's actually sad because many times it just looks like we do not know that we are sitting on a ton of money in this country in terms of football. Football business is actually a very good money spinning venture, but it's just sad to see the way we actually run these things. Even if you're not even going to be able to get airlines to partner with, then there should be a way that football clubs are big enough to make so much money that they can get in their own private jets, their own private airlines. We've seen it around the world. We see clubs sometimes, they have their own private airlines. Why is it not something that we can do in Nigeria? It's just the fact that we have people that are running football that do not know what they are doing. So it's actually sad. We could talk about security all day long. We know how the country is right now. like it or leave it, if you're going to travel on the roads, it's a risk already. And you can't do football by playing in one location. You have to move. So if you're not thinking about ways to airlift your players, then you're going to have to end up getting into the roads. You're not going to do anything about what is going on, the banditry that is going on the roads, because you're not the government, you're not the state governors, you're not the one that is going to combat that. You're going to have to think about other ways that you can get your players away from security-prone areas, and that's by flying these players. But it's actually sad. It's actually sad when you see we have football administrators that are running clubs and they just cannot think out of the box of how to get players out of security dire situations.
Wow, it is sad, but I hope that one day, very, very soon, we will get things right in the country and our football will be run the proper way it is meant to run. And then we can see these international stars coming back to play right here on the shores of Nigeria. But I'd like to say thank you very much, Jideci, for joining today. I would have to let you go because I'm sure you have other things to catch up with. Thank you very much for joining, and we hope to have you again some other time, Jideci.
Yeah, thank you so much, Udoka. Always a pleasure to do this with you.
Thank you very much. We've still got Chinasa Ibonye right here, and let's talk about one man who doesn't need to hand in a transfer letter. He just moves over to the club he wants to play, and so be it. From football star to pro golfer, Peter Odewinge, he is chasing a new dream. Now, at 43, the former Premier League and Nigeria-born icon, he's making waves in golf with his sights set on the Olympics and inspiring young Nigerian players. Now, here's a look at his remarkable journey of reinvention.
Osaze Odewinge is no stranger to breaking boundaries. The former professional footballer built a career spanning decades and continents. A former Premier League star and one of Nigeria's most celebrated footballers is now carving out a new path in golf at age 43, aiming to inspire a generation of Nigerian golfers. Odewinge's football journey began with Bendel Insurance in the Nigeria Premier Football League, before earning a move to Europe with Belgian side La Louvre, where he won the Belgian Cup. He later joined Lille, scoring 26 goals and featuring in the UEFA Champions League. His career saw further success with Lokomotiv Moscow, where he netted 23 goals, and West Bromwich Albion, where he scored 30 Premier League goals and won 3 Premier League Player of the Month awards. Internationally, Odewinge made over 60 appearances for Nigeria, playing in 2 World Cups and 4 Africa Cup of Nations tournaments. He also won silver at the 2008 Beijing Olympics, a career highlight that he still cherishes. Since retiring from football in 2019, Odewinge has embraced golf with the same passion that defined his football career. Now a member of the Professional Golfers Association, he is determined to compete at the highest level and has set his sights on the Open qualifiers. If you have a dream, chase it, he says, embodying the mindset that made him a football star. Beyond personal ambitions, Odewinge is on a mission to grow golf in Nigeria. He plans to collaborate with government officials to create more golf courses and provide opportunities for young players. He believes this can transform lives, boost tourism, and put Nigerian golf on the global map. My dream is to have a Nigerian flag on the elite level of golf. His vision is to see Nigerian golfers compete at the Olympics, a stage he knows well from his football days. Since golf's return to the Olympics in 2016, the door is open for a new generation, and Odewinge is ready to lead the charge. Football may have been where he made his name, but it seems golf is where he will carve out his legacy. Peter Odewinge's story is one that proves you can reinvent yourself as many times as you can.
Chinasa, of course, the popular Peter Odewinge, who doesn't need to hand in a transfer request, he just moves. But now he plays golf and he's eyeing the Olympics. What do you make of his story so far?
Yeah, it's a beautiful story. It's thing definitely worth talking about. After playing, after having a career, a successful career as a footballer. Played in different leagues across Europe, and also played for the national team. Doing his time serving well, and now deciding to take up golf. Yeah, it's a good thing to talk about. The fact that he's a young man. He is one of the genuinely young Nigerian footballers, if you know what I mean. Yeah, he played, he's done, and now he's getting. He still has a lot of time on the side to get into another sport and another passion. So it's a beautiful thing. I saw the story a while ago, and I loved it. Yeah, I wish him all the best. He's in the PGA Tour right now, so if he can get into the Olympics, fine. If he can win a couple of PGA tournaments, if he gets to that level, that will also be beautiful. But if he puts in the dedication and the discipline he put in to become a very, very successful professional footballer, you cannot write him off, because he's going to give it his all, and he's going to push the only way he knows how to become one of the best, at least in the golfing world, and to his own capabilities.
All right, moving on from Peter Odemwingie, football and golf, let's talk about Arsenal Football Club. Now, they have been charged by the Football Association after their players confronted referee Michael Oliver over Miles Lewis-Kelly's controversial red card in their 1-0 win against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Lewis-Kelly was sent off in the first half for a foul on Matt Doherty, with Oliver deeming it serious foul play. Now, the decision was upheld by the VAR, but later overturned on appeal, nullifying the 18-year-old's 3-match suspension. Now, the FA alleges Arsenal failed to ensure their players behaved appropriately and has given the club until the 3rd of February to respond. Meanwhile, the police are investigating threats and abuse directed at Oliver. The red card sparked outrage from Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta and divided opinions, with pundit Alan Shearer calling it one of the worst decisions in a long time. I mean, were you expecting anything different from the Arsenal players, the way they reacted to that red card, and also the way the world reacted to that red card?
This is very, very unnecessary by the FA or by the league or whatever. It's something that they shouldn't have never done. The referee was wrong. You guys have admitted that it was a mistake, and you rescinded the decision of the red card. What happened after the red card was what happened after that was a result of the Arsenal players not being happy, knowing that that the referee was wrong. So I think every other thing that happened after that should not even come into question. The fact that it's like you've admitted, oh yeah, we were wrong, but why did you react to us being wrong like in this way?
Yeah.
They are only humans, These players, they're on the pitch. Fortunately for Arsenal, it didn't really affect them getting a win in the game, because imagine if they had lost that game and end up losing the league title by 3 points or by a point or by 2. How would you be able to compensate them for that? So it's to me, it's just absolutely ridiculous that the FA are deciding to are trying to charge Arsenal players for surrounding the referee. And also another thing, a problem I have with a lot of things happening in the English league is consistency. Because it's not the first time we've seen players surrounding the referee. Basically, every team in the league, you can point to an instance where their players have surrounded the referee, and you don't go about suspending every other team in the league. So it's like, I think it's just them maybe trying to be like, yeah, we got it wrong, but okay, we're going to charge you for this. Like, I just have to charge you with something. It doesn't really look good. It really, really looks bad, because it's a result from the incompetence of the referee on that particular decision, and you shouldn't now try to you should have just made this a non-issue.
Yeah.
We're wrong. If we made a mistake, and we're moving on. Doing this is very petty, and I don't know who advises these guys, but yeah, it's just it's ridiculous.
True. Now, talking about Arsenal, let's go straight to the UEFA Champions League now, where we saw the last round of games, match day 8 games played in the UEFA Champions League. And yes, teams have qualified for the next round, talking about the round of 16, although some of these teams will get to play in the knockout playoffs. Now, for Manchester City and Arsenal, they secured their places in the Champions League knockout phase with crucial victories. Now, City overcame an early scare to defeat Club Brugge 3-1 at the Etihad Stadium. Now, facing possible elimination, Pep Guardiola's side fell behind late in the first half, but responded after the break. Mateo Kovacic equalized. Joel O'Donnell's own goal put City ahead, and then Savinho sealed the win, ensuring their place with among the top 24 teams. Now, Arsenal also staged a comeback, beating Girona by 2-1. Now, Girona took an early lead, but Jorginho's penalty and 17-year-old Ethan Nwanere's stunning goal secured the win. Christian Stuani's equalizer was ruled offside, while Raheem Sterling missed a stoppage time penalty. Now, Arsenal finished with 19 points, comfortably advancing into the last 16. Now, taking a look at the teams that have qualified for the next stage of the tournament, we know that Arsenal are there. There's also Liverpool, Barcelona, Inter Milan, Atletico Madrid, Bayer Leverkusen, Lille, and Aston Villa. Now, teams that have qualified for the knockout phase playoffs, there's Atalanta, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, AC Milan, PSV, Paris Saint-Germain, Benfica, Monaco, Brest, Feyenoord, Juventus, Celtic, Manchester City, Sporting, and Club Brugge. Chinasa, this new format of Champions League, is it getting more interesting for you?
For me personally, no.
Oh, yeah?
It is what it is. You know, they just have to find a way to revamp the competition. You know, to make more money for UEFA, and also to try and keep the appeal of the European Super League away from some of those teams, because it's basically it sort of copies what the European Super League were trying to do, but not really, not absolutely in its entirety, but there's a hint of it. So yeah, to me, it's just another way for them to make more money, and I don't begrudge that. I don't begrudge them that. But does it make it more interesting for me? No, I think. But it's still a competition, a good competition where we'll see the quality of football displayed by teams on a weekly basis, sometimes or sometimes every other 2 weeks. But yeah, I enjoyed the games yesterday. You know, 18 games. You know, I was actually I didn't focus on one game. I was watching it. I was watching Golazo, where I would see I was seeing action from every game that was happening. So it made it very exciting. So yeah, that is exciting to me. But the new format overall, it's I don't think I have any personal opinion. It doesn't make it more exciting for me.
All right, we look forward to the draws for the round of 16 and, of course, the knockout phase of the tournament that will happen on Friday. And, of course, we'll be here to give you all the updated information about the UEFA Champions League. Thank you very much, Chinase Ibonye, for joining us today. We look forward to having you yet again. But then, of course, talking about the rest of the show now, I'm also particular about Lewis Hamilton racing for the Ferrari. But yes, before we go, let's talk about the controversy that rocked women's football in Sydney. Now, a team featuring 5 transgender players won the Beryl Ackroyd Cup in March 2024, sparking backlash and accusations of misogyny. Now, Flying Bats Football Club dominated the competition, winning every match, including a 10-0 rout where a trans player scored 6 goals. Now, reports later surfaced that a crisis meeting had been held before the final, warning rival teams against forfeiting, which could have been deemed discriminatory. Now, concerns also emerged over a past incident where a 6 feet 2 inches 14th player allegedly broke an opponent's leg in 2 places. Now, despite the controversy, the Bats secured the $1,000 prize, leaving some players and parents questioning the fairness of the competition. Well, you can tell why Donald Trump is really against a lot of transgender athletes. Anybody who is transgender, he is actually calling for their necks. And that's a wrap on the show today. Game on News Central TV. I am Udoka Njoko saying thank you for watching. Keep a look down to News Central TV, because we give you the best when it comes to TV programming.